All right, we're back. We're back making Star Wars tier lists. This is not going to become an actual video. This is staying a live stream. I will wait till people join. I'm waiting till people join. I'm sending this right now. We're doing Star Wars tier list. And then we are going to go over that. We can discuss it for anyone who wants to join. And then that's going to be it. So this will stay on the channel. This will stay on the X account. But that's all. I'm not going to turn this into an actual video. This will not be indicative, I hope, of the quality of my videos forever. Hello, someone joined. Comment if you're in here. We're doing Star Wars tier list, which will be starting shortly. I'm getting it ready right now. Let's see here. Aha. All right. Go here for now. We have it pulled up. Star Wars tier list. Should probably put myself to where it looks good for now. This looks better. Star Wars tier list. Everybody join. Nobody join. It says we have 3 people. But because this is getting put on X and X lies, I don't know if this is true. If anyone is in here, say hello. I'll wait till someone comments and then I will start because it doesn't make sense to do this just as a live stream if there's nobody in here. So this is Star Wars movies and TV shows only. No other video games or any other comment or any other content. We're only doing Star Wars movies and TV shows. We're going to go over them. I've seen almost all of these, I think, and then the ones I don't are going to go in bad tier because I haven't seen them, which means they're probably not good enough to spend any time on. Like I said, it says 4 people. Let's look at the thing on YouTube. On YouTube, it says no one. It says there was 1 watching, and it's my account looking right now. There might be people watching on Twitter or on X. All right, we'll start with the ones waiting for people to come in. We'll start with the ones I don't know that well. So let's see here. Let's take Star Wars. What is it? Star Wars Resistance. I think this is the new one. F tier. Trash. Boo. Star Wars Rebels. This is controversial. I think we're going to put it in D tier. Star Wars Rebels sucks. It's really, really episodic. Its episodic structure is super, super repetitive, and it's not very interesting. But there is some really good lore that gets dropped, especially in relation to Star Wars The Clone Wars, the TV show, as well as like the Ahsoka character and some of those other things, which are really, really good. All right, let's look at our next one. But because of its episodic story structure and because it's made for younger children, it's a very, very repetitive, and I don't think it's worth watching to get what's in there. I think this is a different Star Wars Rebels, or maybe it's a 2-part show. The rest of Star Wars Rebels goes in here. Maybe that's a movie. Star Wars Rebels, also D, not good. Star Wars The Bad Batch, it also goes in D. I think that The Bad Batch were cool in the second or in the final season of Clone Wars that got released, and they honestly suck in the show. And the girl character is terrible. She's really, really annoying, and her voice sucks. All right, next up. There's more Star Wars Rebels. Well, this is all D tier too. Star Wars Visions. This is the one that was supposed to be kind of fancy looking, and it had some cool stuff where it showed some of the proto sabers and some of the more interesting Star Wars stuff, which I think is pretty cool. It, like with the saber with the battery pack attached to it, had this weird one where he's like a samurai and his sword or the lightsaber is always turned on, so he has to like put it in a sheath. There were some cool ideas like that were getting put into the Star Wars Visions, I believe. But I mean, there's nothing super special in here. It can go in C tier. It's fine. The Mandalorian, I think the first season of it was okay. And then the second season I thought sucked pretty bad. And the kind of I thought that kind of my complaint with Star Wars Rebels that the episodic story structure got old really, really fast. So Mandalorian can go in B tier. It's good, but it's nothing special, I guess. Star Wars Resistance, I don't even know what this is. Trash. So I think one of these Mandalorians is supposed to be season 1, and one of them is supposed to be season 2. So assuming that this is season 2, this will go in C tier because season 2 sucked and season 1 was okay. Let's see, what else are we looking at here? One moment, please. Feel free to comment, anyone who's in here. It says there are 10, but I don't know if that's really true. Let's see here. Next up. Okay. I think there's more Star Wars Rebels. So this is the one I think I'm going to put this in C tier because I think that this is the one with Darth Maul in it, which is where there's actually a little bit of cool stuff. And Grand Admiral Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn is cool too. He, I think, started off as a Legends character and has now been brought into kind of the mainstream. So that's good. Let's see. Some more options here. Okay, there are individual seasons of Star Wars The Clone Wars, so I'm going to have to go over those individually, but let's do some movies first because I like Star Wars The Clone Wars. First things first, where is episode 9? I'm missing it right now. But we'll have our first A tier. Rogue One. Rogue One, I think, out of all the Star Wars stories, is the only one worth watching. It's the only one that's any good. Let's see. I think that the Galen Erso character and the Jyn Erso character are pretty compelling. I think Cassian Andor is a good character. I've heard the Andor show is pretty good. I'm not really interested in supporting Disney, so I haven't been watching it. But I think you don't really need a story about the Death Star plans. I don't think anyone was ever asking themselves any questions about that, but it's cool. Next up, let's do Han Solo. Han Solo C, it's D tier. Nobody wanted to know about the Kessel Run. They misused the term parsec in the movie. There's nothing really special or interesting about it. It's kind of a waste. I don't think it's necessarily worth your time. If anyone, like I said, is interested, feel free to look. Feel free to comment, anything like that. What else are we looking at? Okay, here we have, I'm forgetting what it's called. The Last Jedi, or no, not The Last Jedi, whatever the first one is in the sequel series, F tier. That movie sucks. I really don't like the sequels. They might as well just not exist, and they would honestly be better off for the universe if that were the case. Boba Fett, F tier. It sucks. It doesn't have any of the appeal that the first season of The Mandalorian had, and it has a bunch of stupid extra stuff in it too. Let's see here. What else do we have? Okay, F tier. The Last Jedi, I think that the idea that was being put forth with Rey being a nobody was actually pretty cool. And then because it wasn't used, it just felt like Rian Johnson was spitting in the face of everyone for no reason, because none of those ideas ended up getting ran through when J.J. Abrams took over. And J.J. Abrams sucks too. That whole trilogy sucked. This one kills Leia. The one before that killed Han Solo. It kind of just felt like a bunch of salty people spitting in your face just to try to make themselves feel better. Let's see here. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. B tier. Very, very good. Good monologues about sand. Good performance from Hayden Christensen. Good performance from Ewan McGregor. Terrible directing. Terrible dialogue. Episode 1, same thing. B tier. Very, very good. No, you know what? Episode 1 can go A tier. Duel of the Fates, I think, in the final battle with Darth Maul. Honestly, I think it probably saves the whole thing. All right, what else are we looking at here? Oh, here it is. Rise of Skywalker. If there was a worse tier, can we make one? Add row below. All right, we'll move all the sequels into negative S, the worst tier. Very, very bad. Let's see here. Like I said, I think that this movie actually makes, by comparison, the eighth movie so much worse. I think that Rian Johnson was kind of working with something that was okay, and the fact that J.J. Abrams just completely, essentially retconned his entire movie, with the exception of Luke Skywalker dying, is pretty stupid in my opinion. I also think that the battle sucks. I think that the Palpatine coming back sucks. There's really nothing redeemable, in my opinion, about the final movie. The Kylo Ren Rey relationship is stupid and it's not at all built up enough. And I think that it was kind of led that they were going to be friends, and I don't know why they end up kissing at the end. That's gay and stupid. All right, I think we're down to only the good stuff now, although I could be wrong. Yes, Revenge of the Sith. Wait, that's just a placeholder. S tier. Revenge of the Sith is the best out of all of the previous movies. The monologue from Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, as well as their final battle, is good. Killing the Younglings is good. Lots of good stuff right there. All right, what else are we looking at here? Fourth movie, A New Hope. S tier. Started the whole thing. It's definitely a ripoff of Dune. It's still really, really good. I think that the opening scene for A New Hope is perfect. The way that the Star Destroyer comes in from the top, the way that the title scroll works to introduce you to the world. I can't imagine how cool it would have been to watch that for the first time when you hadn't seen any of this before and kind of get introduced to this world. I think that seeing that first Darth Vader scene of him killing everyone and interrogating everyone would really make him a lot more intimidating. I think that if you watch the first three movies chronologically in the timeline first, it kind of takes away a lot of the mystique and the questions that are left behind from watching or from seeing the first movie that came out chronologically first. And I think if I were to show someone Star Wars and they'd never seen it, I would probably show them the fourth one first. But unfortunately, so many people have absorbed what Star Wars is, it wouldn't even necessarily be a reveal anymore. The sixth movie, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, A tier. I don't think it's as good as A New Hope. I think that there are a lot of problems with it. I think that a lot of the Ewok stuff is not very interesting, and it really, really slows down the movie a lot. I also don't love the intro is cool, but I think there are parts of it that I don't like. Obviously, Slave Leia is kind of lame. Fifth movie, I think it's between these three movies, and specifically between the fourth and the fifth movie, between A New Hope and between it's between A New Hope and it's between The Empire Strikes Back for what is absolutely the best out of all of the Star Wars movies. I think it really depends on what your preference is. I think that the arguments go both ways. I think that The Empire Strikes Back is probably a better movie, but for me, I don't think that the final set piece of having Cloud City and the battle between Luke and Darth Vader is necessarily as triumphant. And I guess it's not supposed to be because they're losing and it's kind of the second act where everything droops. But it's not as amazing, in my opinion, as the first movie where they destroy the Death Star. And so because of that, I think I personally enjoy the fourth better, but the fifth is good too. Maria or 6 Feet Picks says, do a Warhammer tier list, rank all 500 of Warhammer 40k novels. Well, that would have required me to read any of them. Although we could do a Warhammer faction tier list, which would be pretty cool. We could do factions and sub-factions. I'm sure one of those exists. But stuff like that's kind of boring if you don't have someone to do it with you. It's boring just to rank it by yourself, especially since I'm not an expert. And then we pretty much saved the best for last. Let's see here. We have all of the Clone Wars, and I think it's season by season, so I'm going to have to look close to see what's what. Okay, season 1. Clone Wars season 1 is B tier, if I remember correctly. I think the opening episodes with Yoda and the clones are not super, super engaging, but I think that the episodes with the clone cadets with like Heavy, Fives, Echo, and all of those ones, which sets them up to keep reappearing throughout the anthology as the show continues. I think that part's really good, and I'm pretty sure that that's a season 1, a set of season 1 episodes, and those are really good. Also, season 1 is where the animation is the worst. The animation for the Clone Wars throughout it gets a lot less stiff. The characters start to feel a lot less plasticky, which is really how they feel in the beginning. And there's serious improvements as the show goes along. And so because of that, season 1 can't really be the best. I think season 2, which is this one right here, I think this is where I'm going to put this A tier as well. I'm going to put this A tier. I also hate in the first season that episode with Newt Gunray. That episode really sucks. Season 2, if I recall, has the Zillow Beast, or it's called something like that. That's an okay season. I don't think there's anything excellent in it. I want to say one of my favorites is in this next season. I think this is the movie, C tier. The Clone Wars movie sucks. Season 4, I want to say Lightsaber Lost is an episode in season 4. And I want to say that this is where it starts to get really, really good. I'm going to put season 4 in S tier. Season 4 is where Clone Wars starts to get super, super good, I think. Maria or 6 Feet Picks says, hell yeah, to ranking the Warhammer characters and factions. Like I said, I would need someone to do it with me. I don't think it would be enjoyable for just me to be listing it, especially since I'm not an expert. What else here? We now have, oh yeah, I skipped, season 3 was down here. Okay, season 3, S tier. Season 3 is good too. Then what is this? So we have 1, 2, the movie. Okay, and then 3 and 4, S tier, very, very good. Next, we have season 5, also S tier. Actually, I'm going to put season 5 A tier. I don't think that the way they tied it off with Ahsoka was the best. I think that the fact that she was turned into Anakin's Padawan instead of Obi-Wan's obviously set them up with this very serious issue down the line. And I think Dave Filoni didn't really know how to end it correctly. So because of that, I think kind of A tier's going to go here. But then I do think that that was season 5. Season 5, I apologize. S tier. This has the Bo-Katan episodes. I think this has where Obi-Wan goes and joins all of the bounty hunters. That's also S tier. This is season 6 with Chewbacca right here. Season 6 is where it's not as good with the ending with Ahsoka. Not as engaging is what it is. And then finally here we have the final season, which if you include the first episodes should probably be A tier, but because of the ending, which I really, really enjoyed, I think getting back together all of the characters and allowing them to kind of have their reunion, as well as the finale with Darth Maul and Ahsoka, those are both super, super compelling. And I thought it was really interesting. The Ahsoka episodes in the beginning with those sisters were terrible. That would have been, if it was just, if the whole season was that bad, the entire season would have been F tier. But they really, really pulled it off with the finale, I think, and it really gave it a more compelling and a more engaging and holistic ending to the season, or to the show. And they used it to introduce the Bad Batch, which I think in this season are actually very interesting and pretty good. I think that they're completely wasted in their own show, but I think that inside of this season, they're pretty good. And the fact that they had to use it to set up the following show kind of sucks. It feels like maybe they could have spent more time just on, the characters that we already knew. But overall, I think it was pretty good. So here's the final list here in S tier, which is probably too many things, but I'm flawed. What can I say? S tier is seasons 3 through 7, with the exception of season 6 of the Clone Wars, and then 3, 4, and 5. So the middle movies and the later seasons, with the exception of season 6 of the Clone Wars. In A tier, we have Rogue One, which is obviously good, but not excellent. It's the only one of the Star Wars stories that's any good. Here we have episode 1, Phantom Menace, which is really good, has a few issues. Here we have number 6, also Return of the Jedi, which is pretty good, but has a couple issues. I think one of the reasons why I don't find Return of the Jedi to be that compelling is that you're supposed to believe that Luke Skywalker is a super powerful Jedi, and I really don't see anything that makes you feel that way. I don't think that he comes off that way, in my opinion, in the Jabba's palace scene, and I don't know. It just doesn't really do it for me. I'm not convinced that that Luke Skywalker, like in my last stream, one of the guys said, I'm not convinced that Luke Skywalker finished his training and that he actually is a Jedi Master. That's not at all convincing to me. Let's see what else we got here. Star Wars season 1, or no, it's season 2. Season 2 is when it starts to get better. You have the Zillo Beast. Season 6, like I said, kind of an unsatisfactory ending. Not my favorite. Coming down to B tier, we have The Mandalorian. I'm going to call this Mandalorian season 1. I don't know which that is. It has the Razor Crest in it, which makes me assume it's season 1 because obviously it gets destroyed in season 2. I liked The Mandalorian, especially when you didn't see his face. Grogu's fun. He's cute. Episode 2 kind of has the worst directing, although the finale in it is very, very excellent. I think that the like George Lucas's terrible dialogue probably comes through the most here in episode 2. And then here you have season 1 of the Clone Wars, which I think came off with a pretty good start, but it has a couple crappy episodes. Like I said, the Nute Gunray space battle episode really, really sucks. I think that the Yoda on Trandosha with the like the Trandoshan King, where his ship gets shot down with those red clone troopers, I think that those grouping of episodes is not the best. So it kind of got a rocky start. I think the show was supposed to be canceled after the first season, but they ended up managing to pull through, which obviously it ended up creating in what is, in my opinion, some of the best media. I'm going to point out there was a guy online who makes really, really compelling cases against the Clone Wars show. He kind of advocates for why the Clone Wars animated project, like the thing that came before, what is it called? The Clone Wars animated multimedia project, why that's way better and why it keeps in line with the original trilogy better. Sorry, the original prequel trilogy better. I do think his case is really good, but ultimately it didn't continue. If that was on there, it would probably be S tier, but they chose not to include that on this tier list template that I just stole. Let's see here. Coming down to C tier, we have Star Wars Visions. Like I said, there were some cool ideas. It was cool to see the Proto Saber. It was cool to see the broken lightsaber that never turns off. Here we have The Mandalorian season 2. It's fine. I don't like what they did with Ahsoka. She was pretty much my favorite character from Star Wars Clone Wars, especially growing up. And so because of that, seeing her kind of get misused. If the Ahsoka show was on here, I would put it in F tier. If the Andor show was in here, I didn't watch it, so it has to go in the F tier. That new liberal retarded one has to go in the F tier. Obi-Wan Kenobi goes in the F tier. Actually, that might go in the worst. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show really, really sucks. And then what else are we looking at here? Star Wars Rebels. I threw one series or one season because this has Maul and Thrawn, and I think that those were probably two of the only redeemable parts of Rebels. And you could honestly skip right to that point and like read a wiki to catch up besides that, because there's not enough other information that's worth keeping track of. The Clone Wars movie kind of sucks. The animation's not even that good for what was a movie that when I was a kid, I saw in theaters. The animation went down slightly once they moved to the show, but the quality was never that good. And giving Jabba the Hutt a son is kind of stupid. He never appears right throughout the rest of the show. All the Star Wars Rebels, those all suck. The Bad Batch, it sucks. It's not very redeemable. It's not very interesting. What else? Han Solo, like I said, we don't need to hear the story of the Kessel Run. They misuse the length of measurement for parsec. Is it a time measurement? Is it a length measurement? I don't know. I feel like you're wasting my time, though. And then here in F tier, we have some weird, stupid new animated show. We have Star Wars Resistance, which is stupid. I put one of the seasons of Star Wars Rebels. I don't know which one this is, but just to hate on Rebels a little bit more. And then Boba Fett. Boba Fett sucked. Boba Fett could honestly go here, I think, but the first couple episodes aren't terrible. And then here we have the sequel trilogy, which, as far as I'm concerned, the only good thing to come out of the sequel trilogy is the really fun ride at Disneyland, and all the rest of it is just a waste of time. Well, thank you for joining me. I think all 0 of you, with the exception of Maria Orsic, who came in for a moment to say hello. That's the end of the stream today. No one else is in here, I don't think. So this will be on here for anyone who wants to look. Goodbye.